In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Clone Stamp tool in the healing brushes. First, the Clone Stamp tool, which samples the pixels from one area and clones them to another. In this picture, I want to remove these two boats and this patch of trees. Either get the Clone Stamp tool here in the Tools palette or by pressing S. You want to start by selecting your brush size and hardness. For this, let's use a soft brush around 80. Here you can choose your blend mode. The different modes provide various special effects. For this image, I'm going to leave it on normal, which is the default. You can adjust the opacity and specify how fast you want the Clone Stamp tool to apply the clone with the flow rate percentage. I'm going to leave both at 100%. If you want an airbrush effect, select this icon. When a line is selected, the clone source moves when you move your cursor to a different location. If you want to clone multiple items from the same location, deselect a line. I'm going to leave it checked. You can choose to sample pixels from the current layer, current and below, or all layers. Speaking of layers, let's press Ctrl J to make a copy of our background. This is the layer we're going to be doing our cloning on, so we don't do any damage to the original image. I will Alt-click to sample the source. Then I'll position my mouse over the boat and brush it away. I will do the same thing for this larger boat. Alt-click to sample the source, put the mouse over the part of image you want to clone, and start to brush. Let's move on to a larger area. Once more, I will Alt-click to sample the source, in this case the water, and then start brushing over these trees. Since I left a line checked, as I move my brush, my clone source moves with me. The plus sign shows you what part of the image it's using as the source. Many times, especially when you're working on a larger area, it's better to stop and resample the source along the way. This water is a perfect example. Since there are various shades of blue throughout the water, resampling the source will make it easier for me to match the shade of water. Ultimately, it gives me a more natural look that doesn't look photoshopped. Okay, here is the before, and here is the after. Now I'll switch over to this other image that I have open. Let's take a look at the healing brush tools. These are very powerful tools in the Photoshop arsenal. They let you clone pixels from one area of your image and apply them to another, just like the Clone Stamp tool. However, the Clone Stamp tool doesn't take the tonality into consideration. So if the pixels you're sampling from aren't entirely the same shade as the ones you're trying to cover, your colors won't match and it'll be pretty obvious that the image was edited. The healing brush tool clones by using the texture from the sampled area and then using the colors around the brush stroke when you paint over the flawed area. The highlights, midtones, and shadows remain intact, so you end up with a picture